Hi, I'm Roger. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video for this channel, and I'm going to call this channel Grandpa Keto. And I'm going to call it that because I'm a grandpa and I love doing the ketogenic diet. I am a keto proponent. Let me ask you a question. You should be looking at a picture. You should have seen a picture of me there at my heaviest when I was over 350 pounds. And a picture of me today, which I weigh about 210 pounds. In the course of 11 years, and we'll get into that, I've actually lost over 150 pounds. Of course, I've put 10 back on, but I'm happy with that. But I'm starting this channel because do you ever feel like, as far as your eating and your weight goes, do you ever feel hopeless? Do you ever feel like, man, I try and I just can't get it? You know, I felt that way. I felt the discouragement. I fell back into bad eating habits. I have dieted more than I care to even think about. So let me share it with you, a little bit of my life, and to give you an idea of where I came from and where I'm at now. And I'll try to keep this as short as possible, and just hang with me. I've been on a diet since I've been in second grade. Yeah, one way or another, it seems to me like ever since I was in second grade. I remember Mom taking me to the doctor, and the doctor told my mom I was overweight and I needed to be on a diet. And they tried everything back in with me. The doctor, she gave my mom a paper on, laid out a diet on it, and I tell you, and I'm going to give you my age, but I'm 62 as I make this video. And I'm going to date myself anyway, because back then my diet sheet had stuff like apples and Jell-O. I ate a lot of Jell-O and apple slices, lean chicken breast, rice, white rice, baked potatoes, and so on. It was a typical diet they recommended back then, more of a low-fat diet, and I drank Tab. I don't know if any of you remember Tab. If you're younger, you're going to have to Google that one. But Tab and Diet Right were the two diet colas of choice back then, about all you had to choose from. And I drank Tab. And I tell you, I can remember going to bed at night, and there was nights I went to bed crying. All the other kids at school got to eat pizza, and hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken, whatever, soup, beans, and cornbread they actually had at my school, and buttered potatoes. And I didn't get to eat any of that stuff because I was eating apple slices and Jell-O and eating my dry chicken breast because I was fat. And I hope that doesn't offend anyone, but I just come down to, and just, I wanted to be real. I want to be real about it. I was just fat. All the kids, not all the kids, a lot of the kids made fun of me. And you know what it's like. Not only do you have kids making fun of you because you're fat, then you've got the whole deal that, you go out and recess and they're playing kickball or volleyball or dodgeball, and no one ever picks you, and you're one of the last ones picked simply because you're fat and slow, and we don't want the fat kid, and it begins to really work on your mind, and I think you'll understand that if you've been overweight. And it begins to work on your mind, and your self-worth your self-esteem, your self-worth seems to drop a little. Anyway, I've always been overweight. I felt like as I got older, nobody took me really serious because of my weight issue. I thought people looked at me as fat and lazy. And I tell you, once I got to 350 pounds, you could really call me lazy because I was so tired all the time, so fatigued. I couldn't hardly go, I could mow the yard for 5 minutes with a push mower back in, and I couldn't go anymore. I'd have to take a break because I'd be out of breath or my chest would be pounding, and it was just bad. And anyway, during this time, in the 90s, and in the early 90s, I started with the Atkins diet. The Atkins diet was a big thing, and I started doing Atkins. And I was married the first time, and I started the Atkins diet. Wow. And the Atkins diet worked for me. I lost weight. I was full. I I did well on the Atkins diet. But then life gets around, and birthday parties, holidays, so on and so forth. And somewhere I fell off the wagon and went back to eating a standard American diet and processed foods and so on. And you know how that is. And I got to be honest with you, when I fall off the wagon, I would fall off that wagon and I would set it on fire. There wasn't no just falling off and jumping back on. I mean, I would torch that thing when I went off, and it might be months or years before I tried to get on track again. But there came a time after Atkins and South Beach that I found a ketogenic diet when it came out, and the keto diet worked well for me. It really did, and I lost weight and things went well, and then life got in the way. And let me back that up a little bit. What happened was that about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I hit my highest weight. I was about 350 pounds, a little over most likely. At 350 pounds, I felt so ashamed of myself and so discouraged about my situation. I had just moved up another pant size. I think I was around a 54 or 56 in jeans, and was wearing 4X shirts, And I was so discouraged that I quit weighing myself. I didn't want to see it anymore. And then I had an incident happen right after that. My first wife passed away, cancer. And when she passed away, during the grieving process, I lost weight. I was down about 25 pounds probably. And I noticed myself one morning in the mirror, and I went, wow. And I thought, I'm going to work on this weight. My weight's always been the thing that has bothered me the most. It has been something I felt like held me back in life, all my life. I'm going to do something. So that's when I found the ketogenic diet. I started doing keto, and it worked, and it worked well. And all in all, I lost about 90 pounds on the keto diet. And I got down from 350, like I said, over 350, and I got down to about 260 pounds. A little under, actually. I was in the 250s at one time. And then I met a wonderful woman and started dating, and we started going out, and you know how that is, started going to restaurants. Next thing I know, I was off of that keto diet, and I had burned that wagon again, and got married, and life moved on. And I never gained a lot of that back. I gained back about 25 pounds. I got back up to around 288, 285. And I kind of stayed there. And even at 280, 285, I was fatigued and tired. And I couldn't do much of anything really, to be honest, And it hindered me. So, moving along, a couple years ago, I found out that I had a gallbladder problem. I had a gallstone get stuck in a duct, which caused me to turn yellow because it plugged the duct and, of course, backed everything up in the liver. My liver number shot high. So I ended up in hospital for a week. And while I was in there, of course, I was checking my liver numbers and checking my liver, and found out that I had non-alcoholic fatty liver, and I was headed towards cirrhosis. Now, I always thought cirrhosis usually happened because of alcohol, and then I found out there was something called non-alcoholic fatty liver, and I had it. And they did liver scans, and my liver doctor told me, said, listen, we can hold you off at the rate you're going for about 7 years, then you're probably going to need a transplant. And one day she looked at me and said, do me a favor and try something. I said, okay. She said, here at the hospital, I want to send you to weight management. They have new stuff out, and I want you to go there and try it. So I did. They put me on Wegovy, a GLP-1, Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound. They put me on Wegovy. And someday I'll tell you about my Wegovy journey. I found out I tried to do keto the way I'd always done it with Wegovy, and it didn't work very well. It seemed like I was very susceptible to saturated fats. I could do stuff like olive oil or avocados, or olives and those sort of things, and nuts. But I tell you, I had trouble with saturated fats, and ate eggs, and I dropped 60 pounds in probably about 6 to 8 months. I was down 60 pounds. And then I started to cruise because I felt great. And I just got to this place where I was happy with how my clothes fit. I was happy with my life. I could do just about anything I wanted to do. I did things, and I'm able to do things I was never able to do. I can get up and down off the floor. I can tie my shoes without almost falling over. And I can tie my shoes without passing out, because of that lack of oxygen for being bent over. And I got excited, and I just kind of stayed there. And then what happens to me is, like I said, I was doing a kind of a different, I did keto probably the right way, if you want to know the truth. And then I turned around, and my insurance quit approving Wegovy. They dropped Wegovy from their medicine list, and I couldn't afford to buy Wegovy every month at $1,000 a month. So going off of Wegovy, I had to figure something out. Because Wegovy done something for me that I needed. It turned off the food noise, and I know food noise is this new thing that we talk about now. And it may be a term that drug manufacturers made up. I don't know, but I understand it. I'd go to town, and I'd feel compelled to drive through a drive-through somewhere and get some fries and a hamburger, or some fries and a shake, or a Frosty, or how about going down to Dairy Queen, getting an ice cream cone or something. But if I went to town, you could bet I was getting something to eat. I couldn't drive past a fast food store without stopping. And it seemed like I was always planning my next meal, and my life revolved around food. And then the Wegovy took that food noise, we'll call it, away. Well, I got to thinking, when I was my most successful, when I was doing the ketogenic diet, and I was doing its big brother on steroids, the carnivore diet, where you eat nothing but animal products, meat, cheese, eggs, I thought, not only did I feel great, all my blood work and stuff come back the best that had ever come back. And I got to thinking, I didn't have that food noise then either. As long as I stayed faithful, it wasn't there. So then I began to be more careful. So post Wegovy now, I'm no longer taking Wegovy, and now I am simply maintaining with the ketogenic diet. That has been my goal now, to maintain where I'm at. If I lose some weight, great. If I don't, that's great too, because I'm really kind of comfortable in my skin right now at my current weight. So I started doing Wegovy, and so far so good. It has really helped me. Anyway, that's why I'm starting this channel. I wanted to share my story with others, because I know there are more people out there that feel the hopelessness that I have felt through the years. I know that there's more people out there that suffer from a lack of self-esteem, just feel like they're not worth that much. I have a lot of stories from my Wegovy days. And if you're trying to do Wegovy and a ketogenic diet at the same time, I can help you with that. And I can share some stuff. So what I'm going to be doing on this channel is I'm going to be encouraging you, hopefully motivating you. I'm going to give some keto tips. I'm going to share some of the meals that I eat and some of my basic staples that I keep on hand. I'm going to give you some shopping idea. You ready for this? I am actually going to do some recipes. I'm going to actually cook for you some of my favorite recipes. I'm going to share with you my victories. I'm going to share with you my struggles. And I'm just going to keep it real with you. Anyway, hopefully we'll develop a little community that encourages one another, that shares with one another. And hopefully something that I've gone through, hopefully something that I'm going through, and hopefully some of my victories will encourage you. So anyway, this is the part that everybody always does, and usually they do it at the beginning, but I figured I'd wait till the end. If you got with me this far, I would ask you to get down and subscribe to my channel. You know, hit that little bell notification so that way you'll know when I post a new video. My goal is to post about 3 videos a week, and then just go back and like and share it. And if you would, get down there and leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me about your struggles, or better yet, tell me about some of your victories. That'd be awesome. And if you can relate to me and what I've shared with you today, share a little bit of that down there. And let's do this together. Anyway, I'm Roger. I'm going to be Grandpa Keto. And tune in and see where we go. Anyway, I'll be posting a new video soon, so come back and check it out. Thank you all for tuning in.